As Horus's armies bore down on Terra, the Emperor's forces there braced themselves. The Imperial fists turned the throne world into a veritable bastion, while the Sisters of Silence and the agents of the Sigillite purged more insidious threats that sought to undermine the defenses from within. But the greatest multitude of the defenders of Terra were not superhuman soldiers, lethal psychic pariahs, or operatives in a war in the shadows. Rather, it was the vast number of ordinary human soldiers who rallied to defend the Emperor, and few amongst them carried more of the brunt of the conflict than the elite regiments of the Solar Auxilia. We have already seen these elite soldiers make their mark in Horus Heresy legions, with a las rifle section and a Velitari storm section from the Auxilia becoming popular cards ever since the Extermination expansion to the game. And of course, ever since the Caliban expansion, the Solar Auxilia have contributed relentless defense forces to many a Warlord's deck. Now, as the Siege of Terra crates become available this Friday, we will see the forces of the Solar Auxilia expanded further as their regiments marshal to throw back Horus and his treacherous hordes. We begin with Katsuhiro, a conscript into the Solar Auxilia who fought through several battles against the invaders on Terra. He comes with below average stats for his cost, but he has many traits that help to compensate for this. The first is a new trait symbol, Solar Auxilia. This will mark many of the new cards that have synergies with each other, in the same way that the Cultist trait and synergies burst out of hidden tunnels in the Caliban expansion. Just like that expansion saw the Cultist trait being assigned to older Cultist cards, we will see several cards updated to reflect their being part of the Solar Auxilia. Katsuhiro also has Survivor 1, which is an excellent homage to the lore in which he somehow manages to survive engagement after engagement with the traitor forces. This alone would justify his cost of 3 energy, but why is he an epic card instead of a common or a rare? Well, he has a powerful resolution ability. While he is in play, he will buff one other Solar Auxilia troop with +1 attack and health. This being a resolution ability, it will always trigger at the end of the turn where he is played, and so you will also gain this benefit at least once, just as long as one other Solar Auxilia soldier is on your board. Speaking of other Solar Auxilia soldiers, let's move on to Vexillarius. A veteran standard bearer, he comes at a cost of 4 energy, again with below average stats, this time just 3 attack alongside 4 health. Of course, he also has the Solar Auxilia trait, so he could be a candidate for Katsuhiro to give his buff to. But Vexillarius' cost is really justified by his resolution ability, because at the end of each of your turns, he will reduce the cost of another Solar Auxilia troop in your hand by 1 point. So keeping him alive for multiple turns will give you even more value from this card, as it makes it easier and easier to summon the Auxilia to your board to crush your foes. Lastly, the Solar Auxilia played a critical role as Sol's garrison in stiffening the defenses there. They can do the same for your board. Sol's garrison is a 3-cost tactic that gives a very useful +1 stat to both the attack and defense values of frontline troops. This bonus is also added to any Solar Auxilia troops, which is useful in itself. But if we see any Auxilia troops revealed this week who also have frontline, this card gives them its full double bonus, once for having frontline and once for having Solar Auxilia. Indeed, the Imperial Army deck gives access to a number of abilities that grant frontline to infantry, and so can be used to apply the frontline trait to even Solar Auxilia troops who don't have it at first. Powerful synergies to create powerful board defenses. With these 3 cards, we can start to see how the battle line for the Solar Auxilia will come together in your deck and on the battlefield. Cards that are strong on their own, but which reinforce and strengthen each other to form a sum whole that is greater than its parts. We can start to collect these brave defenders of mankind this Friday, and you will start to see them in events and on the ladder. That's all from me, so until we meet on the battlefield, goodbye for now everyone.